it should go just like we talk normally. Right. That's the idea. We ain't trying to, pretend like, we ain't trying to, because we can curse. We can do the, you know what I'm saying? We say the hell we want.
Here we go. Maestro Styles and Trey Fraser back at you again. This is the Barbershop Sports Talk Podcast. Don't forget to hit us up on Twitter at Barbershop Spore, the number 2. That's Barbershop SPOR2. Hit us up on Facebook as well as Instagram at Barbershop Sports Talk Podcast. And if you got any questions or comments, hit us up through email at barbershopsportstalk1@gmail.com. So, Maestro, what's going on, man?
Coolin', man. Hey, man, it's lit over here. I'm excited. I guess this is our first podcast where we're not going to get into a whole lot of football, but I'm excited for what the future holds for the podcast, for the show, for us as individuals, as we grow and we getting better every week, man. Kids are good. My baby girl is going to eventually get into a basketball game, but she's on a basketball team and she's getting ready for that. She's excited about that.
She on the bench or something?
For lack of a better way of explaining it, yeah.
She's on the bench? Okay.
For lack of there's some little nuances to the situation, but for lack of a better explanation, she's on the bench. So we're looking for her to get on the court pretty soon. And, outside of that, man, life is good, man. We, like I said, man, we're getting better every day, man. What's good with you?
Oh, man, kind of had a rough week. The kid was sick, so me and the wife had to take care of him for the past 4 days, just getting over a cold and all that good stuff. So glad he's doing well now. And, all's well in the Fraser household for sure. Hey, we got a special announcement. We don't want to get too much deeper into it, but you can now hear our podcast through the Stewart Media and Entertainment Network. Our podcast will still be on SoundCloud.com, but we will also be on Stewart Media and Entertainment Network as well, and moving on to the future there.
Absolutely, man. So shout out to the boy Doug Stewart. I said in our little pre-meeting before the show I wasn't going to fan out too much, but shout out to him, Doug Stewart from the Two Live Stews, their radio show back in the day. Doug Stewart branched out and gave us the alley. We going, make it do what it do, Vince Carter style. We getting into it real live, man. So shout out to Doug Stewart, man. Appreciate the lookout. And, if all else is well, man, we can get into some news.
Yep, we appreciate it, Doug. Appreciate it. I hate to start off with sad news, every time we do this podcast, but there's you never know sometimes, because there's always a sad story in sports at times. And over the week, Monty Williams, who is one of the assistant coaches on the Oklahoma City Thunder, his wife passed away in a car accident. She was only 44 years old. His wife's name, I believe, is Ingrid Williams. She's a mother of 5, wife of Monty Williams, and just have to say rest in peace to Ingrid Williams. Prayers up for the homie Monty Williams and his 5 kids. Certainly a tragic ending to this story. I loved how the commissioner, Adam Silver, reached out to the family through his press conference over the All-Star break. I thought that was very classy of him to do so. Again, it's tough to lose, loved ones, but especially if it's your wife.
Yeah. And
it's a person you spend your entire life with, spend your family with, you have 5 kids, and I feel for him. I really do. I hope that, he and his family can get through this. I watched the Pelicans and Thunder game Thursday night, and it seemed like both teams were, kind of in the morning, but they still, they played, obviously, but the connection there is Monty Williams used to coach the Pelicans from last year, and so there's some players that still have a soft spot for him on that team. So, again, rest in peace to Ingrid Williams.
Absolutely.
We praying for you, Monty Williams. Keep your head up. Your 5 kids, keep the kids' heads up, and God bless there. What you got over there, Maestro?
First and foremost, I want to say happy birthday to Jerome Bettis, the bus. We're recording this podcast on a Tuesday, being February the 16th. So shout out to Jerome Bettis. As we know, one of the great Steelers of all time. You know what I'm saying? So shouts out to that. as we in the DMV, the DC, Maryland, Virginia area, I'm looking at the news as it's talking about the Redskins are going to play the Cowboys on Thanksgiving. You know we loving that. So shouts out to the NFL for making that happen again, because I think that happened like 2 years ago, and I know it was lit in the house that I frequented for Thanksgiving. So the Redskins and Cowboys is always a good thing to get into on Thanksgiving. I hope they made that a tradition, in my personal opinion. Redskins and Cowboys, at least for this area. It seems to be a whole lot of Cowboys in D.C.
Well, that's going to be in Dallas, right? Because doesn't Dallas normally play on Thanksgiving every year?
It's probably going to be in Dallas.
Okay, yeah. That's what I thought. Yeah. That's what I thought. They always have the home game on Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm hoping that they make that a tradition, more like, you know, Redskins, Cowboys, and Thanksgiving, because that seems like, and then I guess the whole Cowboy Indian thing, I guess you can kind of, you know, make a
right.
little theme, you know, a little something to go with that. But I just remember the energy that was in the house that I was in. You know, the house that I was in that Thanksgiving about 2 years ago, maybe I don't know. It was a few years ago.
Now, was this when RG3 was lighting it up?
RG3 was lighting it up.
Yeah, it was about 3 years ago.
3 years ago.
Yep.
So you know, that was good. I mean, hopefully, maybe it might have had something to do with RG3 too. Now that you mentioned RG3,
right?
But anyway, right. I would love to see that happen. What else we got? James Harrison is going to finish his contract in Pittsburgh. I'll be the first to tell you that I wasn't super happy, but I guess if he got one more year to play, give him his money. He's again another great Steeler in the history of the Steelers.
You wanted him gone, right?
I did want him gone. But let's just say this: Bud Dupree, Jarvis Jones, and whatever new pass rusher we better bring in, keep him.
I think
keep his snap count down.
I was gonna say they're gonna, you know, keep his snap count down, like you said. I think they're gonna bring him in maybe on third down occasionally.
The problem is that last year and the year before that, he was the best pass rusher we had.
Right.
That's a problem, and with him coming back. It irks me because I feel like he's still going to be our best pass rusher, but he's slow.
And it's a problem because that tells you that Bud Dupree and some of these other young guys,
particularly Jarvis Jones, is more who I'm targeting. Bud Dupree, he had his rookie year. Jarvis Jones has shown he's gotten better, but your sack count got to come up, bro. There's no reason that Cameron Hayward was our leading sack guy with 7 sacks.
So you're hoping James Harrison doesn't get in the way of that.
I'm hoping that Jarvis Jones doesn't perform poorly where James Harrison has to get in the way of it.
Okay. Nah, that's fair. That's fair.
And then the Redskins, they are at a stalemate with Kirk Cousins as far as contract talk. Franchising them is out of the question, apparently. They got to get a deal worked out. I don't know what the deadline is, but they got to get a deal worked out. Kirk Cousins wants more money than they're willing to offer. I haven't read official numbers yet in anything I read, but they're definitely looking to have. He want more money, and they're not willing to pay him. My guess, and this is just my guess, and I think we've talked about this briefly in prior episodes, is that he want that $20 million, that kind of like up there, that that franchise quarterback money, but obviously he hasn't proven himself. He
hasn't won any playoff games.
Yeah, this little stretch of games he
hasn't been to a Super Bowl.
He hasn't beat a winning team record wise yet.
He's horrible on the road. Come on, if I'm the GM McClowan, I'd be like, look, take this money,
take this
14 per year,
right?
And if you don't want it, goodbye.
But see, that it's easy to say that, but the Redskins kind of got. I'm not going. They definitely don't have a Super Bowl team, but defensively, they definitely have a playoff team, and offensively, Bowden, the quarterback, gives you some semblance of what Kirk Cousins gave you last year.
Right.
You're still talking about a playoff team, which they haven't been for a long time. Colt McCoy's not going to come in and keep them there. And where do you go? Where do you go from here?
Well, I've lived in the Baltimore, D.C. area for about 15 years now, and what I've seen of the Redskins is that they make the playoffs one year, everybody's excited, and then they just fall right into the tank the following year. Until
and
I
then the
see
next 4 years after that.
Until I see some consistency with this franchise, I'm not going to believe that they can go to the playoffs in back-to-back seasons.
Well,
I know the division is terrible. I know the Giants got issues.
Well, I'll say this, and I ain't mean to cut you off, but I did. In the words of my man Jason, I ain't mean to cut you off, but yes, I did.
Go figure.
Yeah.
Come on.
But anyway, the East, I doubt very seriously that the East is going to be that bad this year. I think Romo is going to be better. How about healthy for that matter?
Sure.
I think that Eli Manning is probably going to be, and not that Eli Manning was really the problem.
Yeah, Eli wasn't
defense.
the issue. The defense and GM.
And probably the Eagles, they'll probably be the team in my...
they need a quarterback.
Yeah, so to my estimation, they'll be kind of the team that falls off to the wayside without, watching any roster moves or anything like that. And obviously none has really happened yet.
Right. Besides
Zach Ertz and Brent Selleck being re-signed to extensions. But really outside of that, there's no real roster moves being made. But all of them, outside of the Eagles, they got solidified quarterbacks. And then with the rumors of RG3 going up Dallas, I mean, look,
as a backup.
Yeah, but we don't know what could happen. So I think it's key right now for the Redskins to dial in on somebody that they could build with, and if for nothing, they could at least build with Kirk Cousins.
Sure.
Give him, but I'm thinking they should do something kind of along the lines of what they did with Kaepernick a few years back. Give him a, I don't want to say a shitty contract, because I don't think $11 million, I think, is what they gave, what he was guaranteed.
Right. I think a better example is the Andy Dalton contract, where he got like $100 million contract.
He was allowed to get in incentives as opposed to, right, that's more so what I was getting at. Kaepernick had something similar to that. So he was just allowed to get in incentives where, we'll pay you more than what you're getting, but if you want to be paid like a top quarterback, you got to play like one.
No doubt.
That's along the lines of where Kirk Cousins should be. It doesn't seem like he want to go for that. That's my assumption, but that's kind of crazy.
The dude got to win some playoff games, and he's got to go to a Super Bowl. And the Redskins, as a franchise, have to be more consistent in terms of winning football games.
Right.
So I'm not buying it.
Charlie Campbell of WalterFootball.com reports that the Broncos have no interest in dealing with Peyton Manning next year. So if he decides he wants to play another year, whatever, that essentially they're not going to keep him. I don't know how I feel about that. I think that's kind of BS.
That wasn't a secret, though. I mean,
I think that's kind of BS. I don't think they're going to be like, all right, we're going to cut you. But I guess giving John Elway credit, he has made some difficult moves in the past, so maybe so. But,
and let's face it, do you want to pay $15 million for what we saw on that field with Peyton Manning?
Right.
I wouldn't want to pay for that.
And then to add injury to insult, it's not seeming as easy as you would think it would be to sign Osweiler.
It's not. I don't think it's that easy.
But why wouldn't it? Osweiler... The franchise was basically handed to Osweiler. What you think, you gonna get top money?
You shouldn't get top money.
You shouldn't get nowhere near top money.
What did he play? 6 games?
Maybe. I mean, he had a few good games in the beginning. Shouts out to you. But at the end of the day, they had to put Peyton Manning, old ass, can't throw past 10-yard ass, back in the game because you was slumming.
Yeah, well, part of it he was slumming. The other part of it was his running backs kept fumbling the football. And Emmanuel Sanders couldn't hold the football in that game as well. But
so that's not the quarterback's fault, but they still feel like they need to put Peyton Manning in there. So it was something that was happening where
they needed to win the division, because that was the situation in that Charger game at that moment.
Yeah, and I understand that, but why couldn't Brock Osweiler, the future of your franchise, win you the division?
Because they felt like it was slipping away from them.
But my point is that there's no way that Brock Osweiler is giving you any shit about your contract when the team was given to you mid-season and they had to take it from you to give it back to Peyton Manning to win the division.
Maybe Maestro, that's why it's difficult to sign him, because of what happened when he got pulled. He got pulled because the team wasn't playing well. they didn't lock up the 1 seed. Had they lost that game, they would have been the 5 seed, and who knows if they would have made it to the Super Bowl.
Well, no. I get what I'm saying, that Brock Osweiler is giving the Broncos shit, not the Broncos is giving Brock Osweiler. I feel like if they give him $14 million,
right,
which it seems to be the cap for second-tier quarterbacks. I don't know why we made it that way, but all right, cool.
It's going to get higher because the salary cap as a whole is going to increase.
Absolutely. But they give him $14 million. What you telling me? He going to be like, nah, give me 16 for 6 games, essentially?
No, I agree with you.
Yeah, so I'm just saying. I just think it's ridiculous that the Broncos or anybody for that matter has resources that say Brock Osweiler might not sign with the Broncos. It should be no stories about that. Brock Osweiler, if they say, hey, I'm going to give you $14 million.
It shouldn't be, but he's going to remember how we got pulled out of that Charger game.
But what that got to do with your, but he got, no. So you telling me.
I disagree with that. Yeah.
So, I mean, and obviously we don't know. We don't know what's going on in Brock Osweiler's camp and what's going on in his mind for that matter.
Yeah.
But why in the hell would you just not take the $14 million? And given that defense, I mean, I'm not wild about the running game, but some semblance of a running game.
Right.
Demaryius Thomas, Emmanuel Sanders.
But I tell you what, we talked about this when Osweiler was quarterbacking for the team. That running game got going. Because he knows how to run his own blocking scheme.
Well, it got going early at least, but you saw it kind of dwindle off in his last few games too.
Yep.
So, and then magically Peyton Manning comes back, and then it gets going against the Chargers. Now, given it was the Chargers, so I don't know what to take from that, but my point is, and I think we agree with points, and I think what we're trying to do is get into the mind of Brock Osweiler. What in the hell gives you the right to say, hey, I played 6 games. This is my sample size. Give me more than $14 million. If $14 million is what a second-tier quarterback generally gets a year.
If I was in his shoes, I would take whatever they offer me at this point because he's on a rookie contract right now.
I don't say be disrespectful.
Right.
I don't say give me $8 million. I don't say be disrespectful because at the same time you gotta ask for more.
Right.
You gotta ask for more. But $14 million is reasonable in my mind.
Right. Or maybe sign a 1 or 2 year contract then. And then maybe give him a chance to prove himself. And if he somehow takes him to the AFC Championship game next year,
right?
And if they think that that's good enough to where maybe, hey, we can give you a contract extension and maybe add some more money to it,
right?
Then we're talking something,
right?
So, given that scenario, I might go along the lines of something like that. But I don't disagree with you in the sense that he shouldn't be asking for $14 million.
Yeah.
My thing is that when you go back to that final regular season game,
he got feelings because he got pulled.
It's possible. It could be possible.
Sure, it's possible. But
I would be like, look, whatever y'all offer me,
I'm just happy to be on the team.
Happy to be on the team.
Otherwise, I'm gonna be playing. I might get more money playing for Chicago.
Yeah,
but I'm gonna be slumming. I'm doing nothing
because you're not gonna have a team around you in Chicago.
Right.
Yep. Hey, since we on this Peyton Manning topic, let's get to this thing about the stuff that happened back in college in '96. So, obviously, Peyton Manning, Super Bowl champion, wins the Super Bowl, and the story from, I guess, as the Daily News comes out, or it resurfaces about this sexual harassment, assault case, whatever you want to call it, that happened while he was at Tennessee in 1996. So apparently the situation or the story is that Peyton Manning was getting treated for a foot, and the trainer, female trainer,
Jamie Norwright,
at the time, was the one trying to train his foot, and a situation happened where somehow his nuts ended up in her face or her head or somehow. Allegedly. Now, I guess the other part to that is that Peyton Manning was trying to moon another teammate in the process of that.
Saxon, I believe the name was.
Right. Not shortly after that, but maybe 3-4 years later after that incident, Peyton Manning and his dad Archie, they wrote a book. And in this book, The name is just slipping me right now. Manning, a father, his sons, and a football legacy. That's the name of the book. It documents the incident that took place at college.
Yeah.
This woman, not right, feels like her character was deformed. So she defamed. So she, put out a lawsuit for defamation of character. And I guess they settled, right? Didn't they settle?
Yeah, they said they threw her back. It was like, shut up. I believe she went to go for another job somewhere else, and they didn't give her the job. It was another job at another college or something like that. And they didn't give her the job based on what was being said about her in the book, and I guess amongst that circle of people.
Right.
So then they threw another bag.
I guess part of the bottom line to this whole thing is that I don't like the fact that this story is resurfacing. I don't like the fact that, and while, look, we know we're all human beings, we're all not perfect, even though, people in the media, fans have sort of painted Peyton Manning as this golden boy and, we can't do nothing wrong, blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. I mean, come on, people. I mean, come on, media. We're reaching for something to try to defame this person's legacy here.
Right.
I mean, he's at the end of his career. If he wants to retire, let him retire. Let him walk off into the sunset or do whatever. But I just don't like all the attention that this story is now getting after it's being resurfaced again. Because what's the purpose?
What's the purpose? The past statute of limitations, there's nothing, at least on the harassment side, there's nothing that anybody could do to, charge him or anything of that nature. He's out the door in the NFL at least, so there's nothing really the NFL could do or really would do, considering it was a college situation that happened in '96, almost 20 years ago.
Yep.
So it's like, I really hate that when you on top, that haters got to find some way to try to bring you down.
Of course.
This story happened in 1996, which means somebody knew something for 20 years. I don't know. You correct me. Have you ever heard of this story before?
I didn't know this even happened. And not to say that I was this big college football fan back in 96, because I was going into high school at that point.
Sure.
And, my thing was always basketball and baseball at that time, growing up in Brooklyn, New York. So I never heard this story up until now.
My thing was Scarface and Nas in '96 and Pac. So but even as we grew to appreciate football and I think me and you both kind of grew to really love and understand football at the same time.
No doubt. Yep.
Nobody's heard of this. This never made ESPN news in 2005 or hell 2008 or 2003 or
even at the rise of social media, this is never
presented itself
at all.
Hell, how about the time where he won the Super Bowl? That would have been
sure.
That'd have been a time to bring it up, maybe.
Sure.
Or hell, maybe a time where he lost the Super Bowl to the Saints or to the Seahawks. I mean, that might have been a time to bring it up, but when it's like,
why now?
It's like they held the draw 4 and Uno for the perfect time to have a story or to try to gain some type of an income off of it, meaning the chick or whoever reported this
guy from the Daily News.
Yeah,
his name escapes
it's kind of. Well, I know your boy Sean King.
Sean King, that's him. That's
your
him.
Boy Sean King. He pulled up the 74-page court document and went through the my dude. Like at this point, like it's really haters. Like, are you mad because Cam lost? Like, my nigga.
You say that about Cam. It's kind of like this was brought up because Cam got all the attention with how he handled the loss, and now all of a sudden, hey, let's shift the focus now to Peyton.
Now let me say this: while I kind of giggled when I first read the story, sexual harassment is not tolerated, accepted, and if he did it, he made a mistake, and we should highlight, like we do with anybody, that he made a mistake. Now, I'm not saying this needs all this worldwide coverage I feel like it's getting. I also find it interesting that I haven't really heard it on ESPN outlets outside of First Take.
Right.
I haven't heard anybody talk much about it.
Right.
So that was interesting to me, but it should be highlighted in mediums like the Barbershop Sports Talk podcast, because that's what we do. We are gatekeepers. That's what I think we are. I think that's what the importance of what we do. We are able to look at a situation and give our opinion, and I don't want to say give other people an opinion, but at least give them a head start on what to think and what to think.
Yep,
if
absolutely.
in fact it's worthy of you to have an opinion, because I mean, truth be told, this ain't affecting nobody. This ain't affecting my pocket. It ain't affecting your pocket.
Nope.
So I think it's important to say that this happened, and if you did that, you probably shouldn't be putting your nuts on girls' face that don't want nuts on their face.
Nah, you shouldn't be doing that.
Unless she want nuts on her face. Now, if she want nuts on her face, by all means, you should put nuts on her face. But I certainly can't understand how your nuts got on her face because you was mooning another dude, which.
Yeah,
in itself,
it's hard to
see. I never did, sports in school. Like I could play ball, but I never like went and tried out for the team and all that.
Right.
And part of it is because I'm not for the grab assing. Like those little things, like we've been crew, we've been for years.
Yep.
We know homo shit like that.
Yeah,
but there's a medium in sports where that's okay,
right?
Where that's okay.
The pat on the butt.
Nah, nigga, don't do that to me. I don't care how impressed you were with what I did. Don't smack me on my ass. That's what a pimp do to a bitch. Don't smack me on my ass, though. I mean, and that's the way I felt since high school. I you know what I'm saying? No disrespect to people that do it. If that's your thing, church. Right. It ain't my thing. That's how I internalize it. I don't agree with it.
Right. I do think that there's some players in the NFL right now that have kind of accepted that kind of, I guess, celebratory act, if you will.
I think majority players have accepted. I think if somebody had a problem with getting smacked on their ass, it'd be in the news by now. You never hear it. In church, truth be told, they've been conditioned to be okay with that since they were kids.
Sure. True.
Yeah.
That's true.
So it's not even gay to them.
Again, it goes back to how much exposure you have with sports coming through middle school and high school.
That's not even a problem with. That's not even gay to them. Like, at all. Unless they're outside of a sports forum. Right. But when they're doing what they do on the sports field or court or whatever, that's okay. Yeah. So, with kind of like a bond. Like, fraternities might do that. You know what I'm saying? Like, right. I just can't get with it. So, NBA-wise, your boy, the Clippers, your boy, I forget the owner's name. I always forget his name when it's OG. Oh,
the Microsoft dude?
Yeah. But the GM more so. With the GM
right,
more so.
Right.
They actually sent an offer to the Nuggets for the trade Blake Griffin and Stevenson.
Okay.
To the Nuggets for Gallinari and Kenneth Faried in draft picks. The Nuggets turned it down, as they should have. Right. But I thought it was interesting that
they're shopping Blake Griffin.
They're seemingly shopping Blake Griffin, trying to see what they get. Like, they want this dude out of here. I think it's key because, the rumors, he's always been soft, and now you're punching people in the face and
punching equipment guys in the face,
and breaking your hand, and you know what I'm saying. Like, I can never forget how it seemed like for years Zach Randolph owned Blake Griffin.
Yeah, epic playoff series between those two teams.
And at least at that time, Zach Randolph was what you considered to be the toughest. At least one of the toughest power forwards, like
in the NBA, one of the toughest guys.
Yeah. Whatever tough means. Elbows. Like, he was one of the last real ones left.
In the post. Yeah. I mean, that's his game.
Right.
That's Zach Randolph's game.
We always gonna look at Blake Griffin on the soft side, but with all that said, he's a stat machine. He's a
highlight reel.
Yeah, and he's a audience grab. He's a crowd grab. His tickets ticket sales are going up.
Yep.
Whatever market he goes into because of what he brings to the table. But I'll tell you this: I'd much rather have, if I was the Clippers, I'd much rather have Kenneth Faried than Blake Griffin.
Yeah, I'm surprised that they're shopping him in the midst of the whole situation with the equipment guy breaking his hand, and now he's suspended for 4 games. I'm surprised that they're doing that in the midst of all that. I could see if he was playing, he was, being productive on the floor and all that stuff, but to try to trade him with this cloud over his head was kind of a bit confusing because, credit to the Nuggets for not accepting the trade.
Yeah.
But, does any team out there that's stupid enough to make that deal? If they have the pieces to get Blake Griffin in the situation he's in now?
I think Blake Griffin is going to be a good fit on a team. Like, for instance, I think if they could have pulled off Boston,
mm-hmm.
I think just looking at the team, like, I think they could I think he could pull that off.
Right.
The East Coast, as far as power forwards, you ain't really looking at no Tim Duncan or nobody of that caliber. I'm trying to run through my mind real quick. Is there really somebody that
from a defensive standpoint now
that could really deal with Blake Griffin or like shut him down?
Yeah,
nobody really pops up in my mind.
No, nobody. Unless you want to give me Horford and Millsap in Atlanta.
Yeah, and they legit.
Yeah, yeah.
But I'm thinking about it on top of my head. Like I guess Tristan Thompson ain't trying to come out with Blake Griffin shooting that.
Yeah, no. Yeah, there's really no like power forward defensively
that's trying to
go out and defend Blake Griffin really in the East. So credit the Nuggets for not making the deal because I just think that with this cloud of the suspension, getting his hand hurt, punching the equipment guy in the face.
I just think that the Nuggets know what they got in Kenneth Faried.
Yep.
Kenneth Faried don't necessarily put up the numbers that Blake Griffin does,
right.
But Kenneth Faried is a solid power forward. Like he effort, hustle points.
Oh yeah,
he got you.
He
there.
hustle. Yeah,
yeah.
That's what I love about him.
He's been that way pretty much his entire career, to at least to what I know of him. So there's that. Brandon Jennings got traded to the Magic for Tobias Harris.
Yep, I saw that.
I don't know much about Tobias Harris, but I could imagine that they were just trying to, get some big guy,
he's a pretty good player for the Magic.
Yeah.
He's pretty good for them. Nothing to me that's going to balance the power of anything at the moment.
No. We talking about role players at this point. As much people want to upgrade Brandon Jennings, he's a role player, in my opinion, at this point.
Yeah, he's definitely a role player.
Yeah, he's not a guy you look at.
He played in, didn't he play in China last year?
Did he? No.
I thought he played somewhere overseas. I know he played in China years ago.
Yeah,
and then came back to the league. But I thought he was absent for about a year.
Mm.
Maybe I'm slipping on that.
Yeah.
Hey, getting back to football for a minute here. This story that you sent me about ex-Redskins receiver Josh Morgan.
Yep.
So he accidentally shot himself with his own gun a few weeks ago back in Virginia.
Don't get this confused with the Plaxico Burress situation, by the way. This is nothing like that.
Nothing like this. So apparently Morgan was cleaning his gun and it accidentally fired, and he sustained some non-life-threatening injuries, and he's expected to be okay. But he has been charged with misdemeanor reckless use of a firearm.
Yeah. To my understanding, he had one in the chamber when he was cleaning his mom, my dude.
Yeah, you got it.
I'm glad you're okay. Let me get that out the way. I'm glad you're okay. Let me
You lucky he not in New York, because from the Plexico incident, they don't play when it comes to the gun charge stuff.
But that definitely irritated me just a little bit. But speedy recovery. I do hope and like you said, it's non-life-threatening injuries. So we hope that works out for you. Come on, man.
Pretty much.
You gotta be careful with your gun. You're gonna have a gun, you gotta be careful with it.
If you're gonna clean the gun without the bullets, please.
Why was a bullet in the chamber to begin with? If in fact that's the story.
Yeah. It ain't like, you're Josh Morgan. You're not You're not that popular.
You can lose your contract. Your production with the Redskins wasn't all that where they feel like we have to keep you.
Right.
Or
he played for the Niners too, right?
Yeah.
For a few years.
Yeah.
And the Bears or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's kind of a role player. I mean, not that signifies that he shouldn't have.
He's replaceable. He's replaceable is my point. So you can't make these. If JPP, one of the leading, pass rushers in the game, defensive tackles in the game, he almost lost
his entire hand.
Yeah. And, was in a situation where he could have not been playing football again. Like, the Giants was considering really, like, not signing him. And that's JPP. You Josh Morgan. You can't be making these types of silly mistakes. And I get life happens, but you can't make these kind of silly mistakes when you got so much at stake. I mean, I'm not sure if he's making, $8 million a year. I pretty much doubt it. But shit, 1.5. Hey, you gotta get that.
You gotta get that. Regardless of if you got a $2 million home, you better get that 1.5 while you can.
All day in the paint.
Hey, a shout out to Chris Bosh, and this sucks for him, but he's back on blood thinners to treat this blood clot that he has.
Right.
So fast forward, well, not fast forward, but take a step back a year ago, and he had blood clots in his lung, I believe, and he ended up getting treated for it, and he had to sit out the rest of the season for the Miami Heat. Well, he's back on it again, and I don't know how long he's going to be out, but according to reports, they're saying that it's not as serious as the clots were last year. Yeah. So that's good news there.
Yeah. And he said that he's looking to play, to get back into the team rather. He's looking to get back to the team before the season's out. We thought it was just a strained calf muscle. Then it turns out to be this. He was replaced by Al Horford in the All-Star game because of the injuries and things of that nature. So Chris Bosh, speedy recovery. What I did think about briefly was the kind of the memes, the little gay memes and little jokes that they used to play on Chris Bosh, but
I think the Tyrannosaurus Rex one is the more funny one because he does look like a dinosaur.
I think the gay one is funny because he definitely looked like. I'm sure.
Bosh Spice, is that the?
No.
Oh.
It'd be little memes where he'd be kind of like looking like he's checking out a dude or whatever. And obviously, in context, we know that's not what he's doing. That's not what he's doing. I don't know exactly what the hell or why the hell he was looking like that. But you know how these internet folks, these social media folks go. They're gonna find something to poke fun, and they damn sure poked fun. So, but shouts out to him because I'm sure I would think that he takes all that in good fun like we do.
Yep.
But shouts out to him, speedy recovery. Hope you get back.
Definitely.
Hope you get back to the team before the year's out because they need you.
Yeah, I mean they're making a playoff push right now. Some people thought they could challenge the Cavs, and I don't think they're any close near to that. I mean, the way that they've played and, with some of the injuries to Bosh, Hassan Whiteside, sat out a few games. They're not even close to competing for, Eastern Conference final spot. But, speaking of the Heat, they traded Chris Anderson, a.k.a. Birdman, to the Grizzlies. Mm-hmm. I think that was a 3-way trade, if I'm not mistaken.
That's a good look for. If he got to go somewhere, that's a good look for Birdman. More of a defensive-minded team, and he's just another defensive-minded guy. Not big on offensive numbers, but another guy that'll give you effort points, hustle points, and so I that's what's up.
Definitely,
I could dig that.
Definitely, I was right about that. It is a 3-way trade. So the Grizzlies sent Courtney Lee to the Hornets. The Heat sent Chris Anderson I think just Chris Anderson to Memphis, and then Brian Roberts and PJ Hairston was sent from Memphis to the Heat. If I got that right.
Man.
I don't know, but again, it's really not that big of a trade.
I mean, I don't necessarily understand why.
PJ Harrison to the Grizzlies, my bad.
I don't really.
This thing's confusing.
I don't really understand the trade, but whatever.
Yeah, I don't either.
Whatever.
Maybe from the Hornets standpoint, because
right,
we also heard that Michael Kidd-Gilchrist is out for the season.
Right.
Due to shoulder injury that he's getting surgery on later this week. So I'm thinking with them getting Courtney Lee now, maybe it gives them the shooter that they need. That's what I'm thinking. Sure. From the Hornets standpoint.
Maybe.
It's not a conference changer.
It's not anything changer, to be honest. So, so let's talk about your boy Derek Fisher real quick.
Oh, yes.
Shout out to your boy Derek Fisher, man.
I ain't giving him no shout out.
He out here slanging meat to all these junks.
I ain't giving him no shout out.
There's just as soon as he got fired from the Knicks job, he was on vacation with Gloria Govan, which lets me know that
he's still doing his thing over there.
He gonna do his
regardless
thing
of what Matt Barnes feels.
Matt Barnes said that when he get out the league and Derek Fisher get out the league, they gonna have to cross paths again. That's a statement he made.
I'm surprised they haven't fought yet. I mean, quite frankly.
Well, they did fight.
They did, but Matt Barnes wants some more.
Yeah, well,
that's what I heard anyway.
Yeah, he said he wants some more. Then alleged stories. It happened. It was kind of reported on Brian Windhorst's podcast. Brian Windhorst, obviously of covering LeBron James fame.
Wherever LeBron goes, this guy
went
covers
at some point. But now he's more working on the ESPN side, and I think he still has that relationship with LeBron James. But he definitely hired him and kind of branched him out to doing more things. So on his podcast, somebody. I don't know who it was, but they got to talking about Derek Fisher, and they basically his rumors going around that there was rumors that he was dealing with Cleanthony Early's girl.
Yep.
And there was rumors that he was dealing with Tim Hardaway Jr.'s girl.
Yes.
Tim Hardaway Jr. came in and said, "Nah, that ain't the case." And I don't necessarily know if that makes me feel like that's not the case, but I mean, at least to his knowledge, Derek Fisher ain't doing it. So, I guess we kind of got to go with that. But I don't know. But, again, it speaks to the whole why they were saying he's having a difficulty transitioning from player to coach. Because what's insinuated is that when you become a coach, you can't be dealing with thoughts no more. And that's not to call Cleanthony Early's girl or Tim Hardaway girl
or Gloria for that matter
a thought, even though some would argue that. But I wouldn't argue it. Let me get that out of the way. But some would argue it.
Based on the reality show, I think people...
That's it, and that's all. I've never watched a reality show a day in my life. I don't know her personally, so I don't know if she a thought. But that's what some people say. That's what they say. But... you supposed to be dealing with a nice, wholesome girl that ain't in these streets when you become a coach. Is what's insinuated when you become a coach. You don't hear nothing about Greg Popovich's wife out here living that life. You don't hear nothing about, I don't know, who's a flagship coach?
Rick Carlisle.
Yeah, Rick Carlisle's wife ain't on Instagram, thotting in the club.
Doc Rivers'
wife, I don't think she's out here, popping it for a goon and none of that shit. Or, you know what I'm saying? It ain't lit in none of these people's homes, at least that we know about.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So when I think that's what they were talking about, or at least some of what they were talking about when they were saying he was having a hard time transitioning from player to coach. And let's give him, a little bit of a pass. He was just a player 2 years ago, or 1.5 years ago, and then he walked into a coaching position. So
yeah, I lost so much respect for Derek Fisher as a basketball guy and to a human being to a certain extent. I remember years ago when he was playing for the Jazz, those couple years. Mm-hmm. I remember a situation. I think his daughter had some type of, I don't know if it was some kind of sickle cell or some type of
something like that,
disease or whatever, and he was actually at the hospital while his daughter was getting treatment. And the cool thing about it was that the playoffs were going on at the time. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to think, they might have been playing the Warriors, that Warrior team that upset the Mavericks that year. Mm-hmm. And he flew from the hospital to the game, actually got dressed, and actually entered the floor into the game in the middle of a playoff game. And I was like, I got love for that dude. This dude, he handling business at the hospital with his daughter, and then he flying down to meet his obligations because he got to play in a playoff game.
Because that's a job at the end of the day.
Right. Yeah. So I'm like, oh yeah, this dude, got mad love for this cat. This guy's, doing his thing, handling his business, whatever. Now, I don't know what's gotten into this dude. He's, messing with other people's girls and, getting around and...
And again, I'm not about to pass judgment per se, but it's like, come on, my dude, you being messy in these streets is more so, and you shouldn't be messy if you a player,
right?
But you damn sure shouldn't be messy if you're
not
a
as
coach.
no coach. That was a big deal in him getting fired, and I don't blame Phil Jackson for letting him go. I just don't. You combine the Matt Barnes situation with what he said about Rondo, with what he said during his press conferences about how they don't run plays in the fourth quarter.
Right.
The fact that he mismanages Porzingis' minutes in the fourth quarter, and just some of the other antics. It's just like, man, you can't coach. You don't have the X's and O's. You don't draw plays. Like, come on, man. Get out of here. Get out of here with that.
Yeah, that's why.
Since we talking about the Knicks, I'm not going to use up too much airtime here, but as a Knicks fan, I would like to see them get Tom Thibodeau to coach this team. Mm-hmm. Here's the only problem. As long as Phil Jackson is around, I don't think that's going to happen. Nah. Because you know what Phil wants to do. He wants to run the triangle.
Well, and for me, I don't think it's necessarily even about him wanting to run the triangle. I think it's about him wanting to be the coach that's not really the coach. He wants to be the coach he wants to be Jerry Jones.
I was just thinking the same
he wants
thing.
To be Jerry Jones. He wants to be able to do... He wants it to be his team without the necessary work that he goes in.
He wants to throw the puppet out there.
Yeah, right. And look, Tom Thibodeau ain't a puppet.
Exactly. He's not. I would love to... If it means Phil Jackson gonna leave, so be it.
Yeah.
So be it. I mean...
But believe it or not, it's still rumors going around that Phil could go to L.A.
Yeah, I'm hearing that. Look, go help your girlfriend run the Lakers.
Yeah.
As a Knicks fan,
man, as a Knicks fan, right.
I'm like, look, go run out west, help your girlfriend coach the Lakers or whatever they do out there, and let Dolan get Tom Thibodeau.
Right.
And you know what? I am surprised that the Nets in Brooklyn haven't reached out to Tom Thibodeau. Because that's a team that could really use a coach like that. Yeah,
they damn sure need some help.
For real. Right. Now, they've been, since we're on the Nets, they've been kind of shopping Thaddeus Young and Brook Lopez. They've been kind of dangling them out there.
I noticed that.
That's interesting. That means you're trying to blow the whole thing up.
Right.
And I don't think...
I think they should blow it. I mean, roster-wise, they should blow the whole thing up. I think when Joe Johnson started slumming, and when it was obvious that Darren Williams wasn't that guy, they should have blew it up.
You know what the problem is, though? They don't have draft picks for the next 2 years.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
They mortgaged the future when they traded for Garnett and Pierce a few years
Thinking
ago.
that they was going to win a chip with old-ass Garnett and old-ass Pierce, even though Pierce is still, at least his
both
last
of them are
year,
still trying to...
Well, I'm more so Pierce than Garnett. Pierce is...
Oh, being on a contender?
Well, no, I'm just talking about being a good, still being a good, relevant scorer player.
Right.
Kevin Garnett, I'm sure, is still playing what I call old man defense, meaning he's not as fast as these young guys, but he knows where these young guys are going.
Yep.
But Paul Pierce, he's probably playing old man offense at this point. He knows what to do and where to go. But I was speaking in the sense that, what he was doing in Washington last year. That kind of stuff. He was still doing that kind of stuff where Kevin Garnett wasn't necessarily doing that.
Yep.
So, if anybody had a chance to be the guy, it was going to be Paul Pierce in Brooklyn.
Sure.
But, like I said, it didn't pan out because they was old.
It did.
Joe Johnson is not a spring chicken his damn self.
Yeah. Part of it was it didn't work out because they're old, and the other part of it was Darren Williams didn't want to be the leader of the team.
And they thought Joe Johnson was this, this shutdown closer type of scorer, and he turned out that he wasn't.
And third, Brook Lopez had foot issues for most of the
Well, I'm
time
going to blame him on those 4 guys before I blame on Brook Lopez. Brook Lopez was generally young, too.
Yeah, he is. He's still young, but it's just
on terrible decisions to bring in old ass Kevin Garnett and Paul Pierce at the same damn time.
Yep.
Again, that's what I blame. That's number 1. Number 2, Darren Williams is not who we thought he was. He was a system point guard. He was under the tutelage of Sloan.
Right.
And then number 3,
and got Sloan to quit.
Yeah, really.
You know what I'm saying?
Really. And then 3, Joe Johnson wasn't who we thought he was. He was in Atlanta where he was really playing for nothing, so he had a reason to kind of turn up.
Yep.
And he had a reason to stick out because he was the best player on I don't want to say bad team, but not a good team. You know what I'm saying?
Referring to the Hawks?
To the Hawks, because they made playoff runs.
They made
first
playoff
round.
runs.
They made the first round out. Yeah, they weren't good enough, but he was the best player on a semi or on a low level playoff team.
Yeah.
So they looked at that and thought, man, we bring him to the bright lights, he gonna show out. Nah, he probably should have stayed in Atlanta.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely.
So there's that. So the All-Star game was this weekend. The All-Star festivities were this weekend. And I'd like to say, without having watched everything, Kevin Hart almost beat an NBA player in a 3-point shootout. I was
you mad at that?
I was a little befuddled. My nigga. I was a little for real. Like, we went into this week, and I know we talked about this briefly last week.
Yeah.
Kevin Hart can shoot. He can play basketball. And I'm not taking that away from him. I would in turn give him more credit because I don't feel like I could go in a 3-point shootout in front of hundreds, thousands of people and make 12 points. I don't think I could do it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I just wouldn't be comfortable. You know what I'm saying? But Draymond Green do this.
Well, does he? Because I don't think I was.
This is what I say. He's good. Like, if you watched it, he went to his sweet spot, which is on the top of the key, and that's where he made his most buckets.
Right.
He's not a sideline 3 shooter. Maybe in that little area, that little area in between. But he definitely went to his spot and did his thing.
That's where his money balls are at. I think.
Right.
Yeah.
He put him there because he knew that's his spot. That's where he That's where he shoots in games.
Right.
More times than not. So I get that. So that's cool. But I think what was kind of, I don't know. If he beat Andre Drummond in a 3-point contest, cool. All right,
Well, Draymond Green to me is not a sharp shooting 3-point shooter.
Yeah,
my thing wasn't about what Draymond Green could do because I thought at best, because what's the normal high for the 3-point shooting contest? 22 points, something like that.
Nah,
20 points maybe.
I mean, that's probably what'll get you the win on a round by round basis. But I think the average is somewhere around 14 to 17 points.
Because I was expecting him around that 14 range.
Yeah,
which is fine. He came up too short, but to me, that contest was more about could Kevin Hart catch him? Could Kevin Hart actually get the 12?
Yeah,
that to me. It was more about that than anything else.
Yeah,
and he was just one short. Or something like that.
No, he tied him. He got the 12.
He tied him. Okay, yeah. Kudos to Kevin Hart.
Yeah, props to Kevin Hart. But I feel like I expected more. And I guess any given day you can lose to anybody. You can have it all day. So
for real.
I just feel like I feel like it should have been a longer. I feel like they should have tied. Let's say that.
Right.
If Draymond Green won 13-12, I'd be cool with that.
Right.
I'm not cool with a tie.
Hey, I just gotta say this though.
Yeah.
Hey, Cassidy Hubbard, sideline reporter for ESPN.
ASAP.
Lord bless her. That's all I gotta say.
ASAP.
That's all I gotta say.
She's worked. She's worked. I never noticed her. Because when I hear her, I normally hear her on like podcasts and shit. Like shout out to His and Hers, like because I'm an avid listener there. That's the first time I had ever heard it. I know she does the college football show on ESPN.
She does that. She does the NBA Tonight stuff.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I had never really seen her, being that I don't watch a whole bunch of TV.
Right.
So yeah, but when I did see her.
Amen to that, brother.
ASAP.
No
So
doubt.
shout out to her. 3-point contest was lit in the finals. Klay Thompson against Steph Curry in the 3-point contest finals. Klay Thompson pulled it out. Man, like that's cool. I don't really want to talk about the skill challenge, man.
Nah, forget that, yo.
Yeah,
3-point shooting contest and a slam dunk contest.
Yeah, and truthfully, again, it was more about Splash Brother versus Splash Brother for me. So that was cool. Slam dunk contest. We never did find out who that fourth guy that was in the slam dunk contest.
I just remember Andre Drummond, Aaron Gordon, and Zach LaVine.
And I really remember Zach LaVine and Aaron Gordon.
Those are the two guys.
Man.
I have to tell you, that was probably the best dunk contest since Jordan and Dominique.
Well, some people calling it the best. I need to watch it again when I'm that, you know what I'm saying, when I'm that psyched about it. You know what I'm saying? Like, right. I need to watch it again. One thing nobody gonna tell me is, and with respects to, you know, the human highlight and Jordan, they wasn't doing no shit like that. And, like, no, they wasn't doing no shit like that.
They weren't. They definitely weren't.
Yeah, they wasn't doing no shit like that.
It's hard to, and I'm talking about Aaron Gordon here, but the particular dunk where his mascot's out there on a hoverboard, by the way, so he's about an extra, I don't know how high those things are.
Maybe 3-4 inches, maybe.
Something like that.
Yeah.
And Aaron Gordon makes this jump where it's as if he's about to sit on the mascot's head, but he jumps over the head, he grabs the ball with his left hand, passes the ball to his right underneath his legs.
If
in
you
the
ain't
sitting
seen
position,
it, I don't know where the hell you been if you ain't seen this on Facebook.
And throws it down with his right hand. That's the toughest. That's got to be the toughest thing to do, to not only get the height to transition from left to right. I don't know if he's a lefty or righty, but either way, it's difficult to make a transition like that through the air,
right,
and to throw it down like that. That should have won it. And I tell you what, Maestro, Zach LaVine, he was great, but Aaron Gordon should have won that contest. And the reason that didn't happen was because Shaq was hating out there. Shaq was hating out there.
You hating ass niggas.
You know, he was like, hey, look, you got to dunk it on the first try. That was Shaq's thing. Like, I'm not giving you a 10 after the second try.
Nobody, from 2001 on, damn near nobody makes it on the first try.
Right.
Since Vince Carter. You know what I'm saying? Like, damn near nobody does it. So, that's...
I guess Shaq was trying to bring that back to voting or whatever, or judging. I don't know.
Yeah, but I think Zach LaVine won it before it even happened, though. I mean, before the contest even happened, Zach LaVine won. So he was challenged, though. No doubt about it.
He had to come up with some stuff.
You have a valid argument with that Aaron Gordon won and not Zach LaVine. But like I said, Zach LaVine was the golden child coming into this.
Yep.
And what I thought was kind of cool was, I don't know if you saw this, but Karl Anthony Towns put out I don't know if it was an Instagram post or what it was,
right,
where he was watching, he didn't show none of the dunks, but he was watching Zach LaVine practice.
Right.
And he kind of like movie trailered the situation, like, yo, this shit is crazy, like, you know what I'm saying, and kind of like walked off out the gym, like the shit was so amazing, like, so it had niggas that saw the post, like, yo,
shout out to Karl Anthony Towns on the sideline.
What is he going to do? Like, what is he going to do?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it was lit like that, you know what I'm saying? So I appreciate that they're in attempts to revive the dunk contest, and I know 1 year is dead, the next year is back, 1 year is dead, next year is back.
Right.
I'm hoping that these young cats, because it don't seem like stars are going to be doing this anymore.
Nah.
Like people that are really producing in the All-Star, making All-Star games. Don't seem like these guys. And it's cool. It gives opportunity for, the second-tier players get an opportunity to shine.
Yep.
And it also, I think it creates some kind of a hunger where, hey, give me some shine. So these people, Zach LaVine with the Instagram post, they kind of do these branding. There you go.
It's a part of the brand.
It works for everybody. So shouts out to the dunk contest because it definitely went up. And then already people are looking forward to Zach LaVine versus Aaron Gordon next year.
No doubt.
Already.
Oh, no doubt.
You know what I'm saying? So
did it bring the dunk contest back? Did it bring back the excitement that it once was years ago?
Yeah, I mean, at least for this year it did. Like I said, we already waiting for next year Aaron Gordon versus Zach LaVine.
Absolutely.
We're already waiting for it now.
Yep.
So I mean, yeah,
they need to sign up today if they haven't already.
Well, I'm pretty sure that they're both going to be there.
And Andre Drummond need to just not show up at the thing at all.
They need to find. I've never really been a great fan of big centers, power forwards, and dunk contests. At least not since. I mean, Dwight Howard was a good one. He was more of a sell than it was the actual dunks.
Right.
He was more,
and he was more creative a little bit.
Well, yeah, but the actual dunks weren't so impressive.
Yeah, the dunks weren't impressive.
I mean, I ain't gonna say totally weren't impressive because the joint where he basically threw it into the rim, that was impressive.
Yep.
The joint where he put the rim up, like, you got a higher rim, that was impressive.
Yep.
Like little stuff like that, but like none of them drinks looked vicious. Like I think what makes dunks look cool for guards and stuff are like 'cause they smaller. It's like it looks like they had to jump really high to get there. You know what I'm saying? Shit like that.
Yeah.
So I've always kind of been more, like let's keep them out of that, but you got to put them in something. So
absolutely.
So I'm not against Andre Drummond doing it.
Oh yeah. I remember the Spud Webbs of the world, the Nate Robinsons.
Yeah, that looks better because it looks like they jumping really high, whereas centers and forwards, they're tall even though they're jumping high.
Yep.
I mean, they're not really jumping that high.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
They're taking a hop, really.
So how much of the All-Star game did you watch?
Man, I tell you, it felt like I watched the entire thing, and while that was happening, I actually was trying to nurse my son at the same time. So there was no defense at all. Yeah,
which we knew.
We knew that was going to happen. A couple things I took from the All-Star game. Love the Kobe introduction. Love the fact that the city of Toronto stood up for Kobe Bryant. I love the montage of his career as a whole. What I did not like was Kobe kind of being passive a little bit throughout the game. Like he didn't want the spotlight. Like as if he didn't want to take... Because he took... How many shots? 10 shots?
10 shots, yeah.
Something like that. Yeah, he deferred more than he actually wanted to ball out. Yeah. And he played some significant minutes in the game. The other thing that I noticed was, particularly in the third quarter, it seemed like Russell Westbrook was trying to get that MVP like he did last year.
And by the way, the West wins 196 to 173 over the East.
Yep.
Well, here's what I'll say. From what I saw, I mean, and again, we wasn't expecting defense.
No, not at all.
Nobody was expecting defense. Let's just get that out. I mean, it was a regular All-Star game. But I will make this point. The West scored 196 points.
Yes. Now, wasn't a record broken for most points in a half?
I don't know.
90, didn't they score like 90 points? 92 points in the first half?
Mm-hmm. I think they scored 92, but I don't know if that was a record or not.
Okay. They mentioned something about the record being broken there. Paul George, 41 points. Yeah. 1 point away from tying Wilt Chamberlain's record in the All-Star game.
Yeah.
You know what's funny?
Rice also had 41 too.
Who did?
Glenn Rice.
Glenn Rice did?
I think he did in the All-Star game.
What's funny about the Paul George thing was that once he got the 41 points, people started playing defense on him. Like once he got the ball back to try to break the record. Yeah. I'm like, really? Y'all gonna keep Paul George from the record? Like, really, y'all?
I don't know about that. Yeah, that's kind of whack, but whatever.
Yeah.
So 196 points. Now I want to read this. I want to read this for. What am I looking for? Boogie Cousins scores 11.
Oh, he shot a 3-pointer, by the way. He did something exciting.
Well, no. LaMarcus Aldridge scores 4 on the east side. Paul Millsap scores 3. Andre Drummond scores 16 and 13 rebounds. I'm going to assume that all those were like alleys and shit. Paul Gasol scores 9. Al Horford scores 7. So outside of Andre Drummond, who's obviously just with his participation in the All-Star game, been in the dunk contest, with him taking advantage of Chris Paul not having ankles earlier in the year.
Yep.
He was the lock guy, big man that was going to make the All-Star game.
Right.
How do you feel about the big man's performance in the All-Star game from what you saw?
From what I saw,
for anybody who I'm not to cut you off, but to cut you off, check our prior episodes. We had this. Trey doesn't agree with the systematic depletion of the big man in the All-Star game, which is fine. Which is fine. But my argument is that this is the game that they want in the All-Star game. They want a fast-paced game. They don't want Pau Gasol backing somebody down in the post.
Which he wasn't doing, by the way, in the All-Star game.
So give me your take on your assessment on the center forward, the true, in quotation mark, center formation position.
Here's what I'll admit. Watching Boogie Cousins, aside from that 3-pointer that he made, he looked really slow coming down the floor. Underneath the rim, easy layup. It looked slow. It looked very methodical. Mm-hmm. I'll admit to you there that it was just like, like, can you like do something? Can you like do a thunder dunk? Can you like do a 360 in the air? Or do something, or do a 360 and dish it out to somebody in the corner. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I get that. That didn't look all that great. Elsewhere, seemed like all the other big men were trying to, make it exciting. I don't recall Andre Drummond, and what he did. Pau Gasol obviously did a lot of passing. Obviously, nothing spectacular. Who's the other big guys out there? Paul Millsap.
3 points, 3 rebounds, 1 assist.
Yeah, Paul Millsap. Nothing much there. He is a guy that can get up and down the floor.
Pau Gasol, 7 rebounds, 1 assist, 9 points. Al Horford, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, 7 points. Boogie Cousins, 4 rebounds, 1 assist, 11 points. So again, this is what, just looking at the stat line.
Right.
They didn't get past the ball much often. Doesn't seem like they played much in the fourth quarter. Andre Drummond did what Andre Drummond does every single game.
Okay.
Rebounds, points, and it seems like, is he averaging 20 right now?
Who, Andre Drummond?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, I didn't think he was. I think he's averaging about like 18.
He's averaging a double-double, I think.
Yeah, a double-double.
Yep.
So he came in and made a double-double. And that's the guy, that's pretty much, well, I can't say I won't vouch for Boogie Cousins. Andre Drummond and Boogie Cousins were the 2 big men that I vouched for being in the All-Star game. After that, for the sake of what they want in an All-Star game, there's no need for it. There's no need for them to be there in the game. And really, that only works for the first, second, and half of the third quarter, because when as the intensity starts to pick up for who wants to win the game, it's a guard's game. We all know that. It's a guard's game.
I get it. I just think that to try to not have the center position as a showcase, to just have the 2 guards and 3 forwards, it's like, come on.
But are you just not agreeing with? Is it that you're not agreeing with? You just don't like seeing 3 forwards, or is
I don't like seeing 3 forwards. It's like,
like when you look at it. So even if they put, like, for instance, last year they put Mark and Pau Gasol at forward,
Right.
But they were centers playing forward. So they were going to come in and play center even though they were a forward. You're just not, are you just not so you were okay with them playing there, like being starters. You just weren't okay with them being starters as forward.
Right. Because if you're worried about them being slow in the game and not being exciting, then look, let them start. And if they and just take them out like the first 5 minutes.
Has anybody
have them in there 5 minutes and take them out?
Has any of these big men, in your mind, proved? Have they made their case? Have they made your case, or have they made my case?
They've made your case more that the game, the All-Star game, they want guys to fly up and down the court,
right.
And they don't want slow guys bringing the ball up and being in the post and backing somebody down.
Yeah.
It relates to your theory.
Right.
My thing is that if you're going to take the center position away from the All-Star game, then just vote on the best players in each conference, whether they're guard, forward, or center.
I think
It's like baseball. You're not gonna include the catcher there? Like you're not gonna have the shortstop there because they don't do things exciting? No. So
I agree with vote the best players in, but I think voting the best players in, a center is going to get in. That's point blank period. They might not start. I think what's key. I think the way they did it, let the centers be reserves. Let them be reserves.
It's fine with me.
In that second quarter, second quarter downtime, like everybody knows there's no downtimes within games.
Right.
That's that around that time. Throw your centers in. I don't because
have them start the first 4 or 5 minutes and take them out, and then you got your Isaiah Thomas sitting there. You got your Al Horford sitting there. You got other guys that are speed guys off the bench, put them in the game, and let the game flow.
In their defense, by the way, they played. Boogie played 12 minutes. Aldridge played 14 minutes. But also not in their defense, Anthony Davis played 15 minutes and scored 24 points.
Okay.
So I mean, it could go either way. Let me just say that it could go either way. Cool. It can go either way. I just think that at the end of the day, fans are way more impressed with 196 to 73 as opposed to 121 to 117, which a lot of those back in the day games, All-Star games, that's kind of like where they were going. And I think we as a society like fast, quick scoring.
They do. They love the up and down flow of the game. They love guys that can do some spectacular things from an athletic standpoint.
Yeah. And shouts out to I'm sorry. Let me. You finish your point first. I ain't going to cut you off because I'm about to.
I was just gonna say Boogie Cousins, other than the 3-pointer, just wasn't doing it for me from an athletic standpoint.
Yeah. He wasn't trying to yank nobody. He wasn't trying to highlight.
Right.
And that's the All-Star game is about. It's about fast highlights.
Yep.
So, yeah, he definitely wasn't trying to do that. Shout out to Drizzy Drake because that jacket he had on for Kobe, that drink was mean. Then, if you don't know anything about me, you're going to learn that I enjoy sneakers. The Bama bought out some white Jordan 8 OVO edition. Jordan 8s, they were white and Kentucky blue. That was like one night.
Right.
Then I don't know if it was another night or later on, he bought out a black pair of OVO 8s, and them shits was mean. Right. I'm gonna throw them on the Instagram so y'all can see them if y'all haven't. But them drinks was lit. I'm not going to fake. Them drinks was like that.
And shout out to Andrew Wiggins because that jacket he was wearing at the dunk contest, I don't know what the heck that was. It looked like a shiny suit, man. It looked like he got that joint from Puffy.
Yeah, these young boys. I'm saying like I'm old or some shit, but you know what I'm saying? ASAP, man. I just can't do the skinny jeans shit. Like I be rocking with some of these young boys swag, and I be trying, in incorporate what I can that don't make me look crazy. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm 30, I'm 32. You know what I'm saying? I ain't some shit I just ain't got no business wearing.
Yeah.
But you know what I'm saying? I try to throw my little grown man curve, but still be
trying to keep up with the times, man.
Yeah, I don't even want to say. Yeah, I guess that's
trying to keep up with the times.
Keep up with the times without conforming.
Without the tight jeans.
Yeah, because I can't do tight jeans, and I can't do too tight shirts because my circulation I still got a fat gut that I'm working on. Right. You know what I'm saying? I'm getting sexy for the cameras. Don't worry, it's coming soon. But I mean, I can't rock with that.
Right.
Anything else you want to add to the All-Star game?
Nah, man. Oh yeah, this white dude, right?
Oh yeah, yeah.
On during the All-Star game, this was halftime. And I guess they picked this guy out of a crowd, or he's like a professional dunker. Yeah,
damn it! Why would I not be prepared with this guy's name? But the dude, he's a professional dunker. I mean, that's what they're paying him as. That's not to say he don't play ball, because you would hope that he could play some basketball if he could dunk. But the guy came out in jeans at the halftime game and did this crazy ass dunk. Basically, he's going to be in a TV show that's going to air on TNT later on this summer that Terrence J from 106 & Park fame is supposed to be producing.
Right.
He's doing it with Shaq, and it's kind of like a reality show where these dunkers get together and have dunk offs, and there's a prize at the end of the show.
Right.
Right. So he's one of the guys that's going to be in it. That's supposed to be airing on TNT in the summertime. So I wish I would have wrote his name down, but yeah, that shit was crazy. Like, and what's crazy about it is, these Bammers in dunk contests, they in shorts, and
yep.
This Bama just hopped up off the all out of seat from watching the game.
Right.
Jumped over what the hell is a mascot or something?
It was a mascot. He
jumped over something and threw the joint like
behind him. It was a behind the back dunk. It was crazy.
Yeah,
it was like a reverse dunk.
The shit was crazy.
And the players on the sideline, you saw their facial expressions. They was just like, oh, like. What was that?
You gonna be good for All-Star games, but you ain't doing nothing with us when it's time to ball.
Right.
But shouts out to Cuz, because he definitely showed out, man. And if when that show airs, man, make sure y'all check that out.
Right. So while we got a few minutes left here, the NBA trade deadline is Thursday, the 18th, and I guess what I'm looking for is something that is going to push a team, and I'll give you a good example. If you're somebody in the East, you're basically trying to compete for that second spot, because there's many people that think that this is the Cavs' conference to lose when it's all said and done. Yeah. So when I look at the list of guys that are on the block, you look at a Kevin Love, a Blake Griffin, Dwight Howard. The Rockets are dangling him out there. Yeah. The Hawks, they're dangling Jeff Teague and Al Horford out there also. Yeah, The Celtics are actually looking to get one of these guys, and they have, to me, the compensation to get it done. Yeah. Now, I don't know if they're going to use the first-round pick that they got from the Nets a couple years back to do so.
I wouldn't do that.
I wouldn't. Yeah. I wouldn't. If I'm the Celtics, I would stay pat. I mean, they're a really good team.
Nah, I would go for Dwight Howard.
If you're the Celtics?
If I'm the Celtics, I'd go for Dwight Howard. Who's their center?
Olnick. He comes off the bench, though.
Who's their starting center?
I think their starting center is Jameer Johnson, I think.
Exactly. So. I would go for Dwight Howard. I get that he's going to want max money. Mm-hmm. And he probably doesn't deserve max money. But
not at this point.
Short term him.
Yeah.
Short term him.
Yeah.
Because it gives him an opportunity to have a reason to play hard, because he's trying to get a max contract.
Yep.
We'll give him the money. Give him the money now, but if you want the years, you got to show us you deserve the years.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? But you got to at least give him the money for this year and possibly next year. But I think with him, if he's playing at any semblance of Orlando level, that's cash money for the Celtics, I think. That's the upgrade off rip in the front court. Isaiah Thomas is balling. Brad Stevens, he seems to got his hands on what's going on. I think you pull the trigger and go ahead and get him.
Get him for a first round pick.
Nah.
Or maybe put Evan Turner, Jay Crowder in a package. Maybe.
Yeah, but now that I think about it, you're definitely going to have to give up that first round.
Mm-hmm.
But
combined with a player or two, maybe.
Yeah, but see, I'm sitting here thinking like, Dwight Howard ain't gonna be able.
Would Horford be a better fit for the Celtics?
I mean, money wise, maybe.
Yeah, sure. Money wise, yeah. Well,
I'm trying to think. See, what I'm thinking about is relevance is if we're trying to get to the finals because the East is still the East, even though record wise it's looking like they're winning more games this year than normal.
Yep.
I think the dynamic of the East is still the East. There's no big guys. There's no big guys that's going to really demand the paint like the way a Tim Duncan does.
Sure.
Or something of that nature. So we still have that dynamic. So who's the best guy in the system that can overthrow Cleveland with what you got now?
Right.
And I don't think Al Horford is the guy in that situation.
No, because we saw last year in the conference finals where they just got beat up on the offensive board.
But I'm not necessarily sure if Dwight Howard. I think a motivated Dwight Howard can have wreck for Mozgov and
absolutely,
Tristan Thompson.
Absolutely.
But is he going to be motivated, A, for the money that you're going to pay him whether you like it or not, and then B,
well, let me let you know something here. The Celtics, they're 32-23. Mm-hmm. They're the number 3 seed in the East right now. So you're looking at a situation where, look, I'm in Houston. We're probably the 7th, 8th seed at best at this point. We're not getting anywhere. We're playing some selfish basketball to a certain extent. I go East. I play with Boston. I got some young guys around me. I got a point guard that can run pick and roll with me.
Yeah.
I'm the best big man in the conference with this move. I could challenge the big guys for Cleveland. And Maestro, you know as well as I know, all it takes is one big injury to one of those guys on Cleveland, whether it be Kyrie, whether it be Kevin Love, if he's still there.
Yeah.
All it takes is one of those guys to go down, and it basically just opens it up for everybody else in the East.
I agree with that. I don't know about Dwight Howard and pick and rollers more so. Was Dwight Howard, man, when he was good, air quotations because people can't see me,
right?
In pick and roll, it was some terrible footwork or a dunk.
Yeah. That's all he only has that one shot.
He just plays very good defense, and he can jump out the gym.
Yep.
And that's not to trivialize those two traits, but goddamn, like at what point? Damn, he's been in the league since like 04. Has it been since 04?
Since 04, yeah.
And he ain't got no post moves yet.
No. Didn't he go to Hakeem Olajuwon School for Big Men?
And didn't learn a damn thing.
Yeah. Don't seem like it, man.
Don't seem like it. He don't have no post moves. So, I mean, I don't know. I guess kind of tying it all in, I just think that nobody's, just with who's on the market, seemingly, and we don't know what's going to happen between now and Thursday.
Right.
But with who's on the market, there's nobody on the market that's going to go to another team that's going to challenge, in my mind, that's going to challenge Cleveland on the East.
Spurs, Warriors, Thunder to a certain extent on the west side.
Yeah, there's nobody there.
Should the Hawks trade Teague and or Horford, or should they just stay pat?
Can you tell me offhand what they're doing record-wise?
Hawks are 31-24, the number 4 seed in the East right now. They're 8.5 games back of first place. They're a game back of the Celtics for the 3rd spot. I
think Jeff Teague would affect that, so I'd stay where I'm at.
Yeah, I would. I don't see why.
Tiago Splitter just went out for season-ending surgery recently. Yeah.
I would, if I'm the Hawks, and I understand that Horford's a free agent, and I understand that the risk of losing him for nothing in return is there. I understand that. But if I'm the Hawks, I got to stay pat because, again, one injury could change this whole conference. I mean, it's just
nothing out there. It's just nothing out there.
It's nothing out there. It's nothing. I mean, the Raptors look like they're the number 2 seed, but to me, they got to prove they can win a playoff series.
Right.
You know, so I look at everybody else. The Bulls are injury prone right now with Butler being out
for a little
and
while.
Gasol had some injury issues, and you know, Derrick Rose, even though he's playing some pretty decent basketball, we don't know when that dude gonna go out.
Right.
And the Pacers, that they're still trying to find themselves. So I just don't see.
Yeah, I mean, again, obviously something can be.
I think the one team that could make a really big splash is the Celtics because they got the assets.
Yeah, but again, I think again it's just more if there had to be a splash trade.
Yep.
I would go for Dwight Howard and the Celtics if there had to be one.
Right.
But nothing outside of that, in my mind, is really worth anything, just given where teams already are,
right,
and who has what as far as money and can really pull it off.
Sure.
That's the only one that seems to make sense to me, and that's the one I would rock with. But outside of that, I feel like you said, everybody else should pretty much stick to where they are because I mean the Celtics number 3. I mean, I don't really feel like they got a chance against Cleveland, but Dwight Howard, you never know.
You never know. And again, I said before this, we talked about this. This is really just to get to the Eastern Conference Finals.
Yeah, and see if we got a shot.
Yeah, because I'm not buying Toronto just yet. To me, they still got to prove that they can win a playoff series.
No, I agree with that.
So, I guess that's it, man.
That's it.
Don't forget, people, check us out on Facebook, on our Facebook page. Hit us up through Instagram at Barbershop Sports Talk Podcast. Maestro will be handling all the Twitter stuff at Barbershop Sport 2. That's Barbershop SPOR, the number 2. And through email, hit us up, barbershopsportstalk1 at gmail.com. I'm Trey Fraser. That's Maestro Styles. We out of here. We'll see you next week. We'll talk some NBA and maybe we'll get into some college basketball. Holla at you, people. Later.